Hey, what's up, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Water Bearer podcast. I'm so glad you all are here, whether it's your first time watching or you've been with me since day one. So, again, welcome to the show. And Sharon and Karen, liking all of that is, well, sharing is Karen basically, but subscribing is thriving. So, hey, if you don't mind, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any content on the channel. Also, for the on the go listeners, that community has been growing as well. So you can also catch the podcast if you can't see it on video. You can catch it on all of the major audio streaming platforms as well. And you can catch the drip every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so, as you may already know, this season is focusing on the love of each sign. So we're talking about why you would love each zodiac sign. And today's focus is Virgo. So before I bring my guest out, DeJuan, who's joining me, who is a Virgo, I'll give you a couple of preliminary things on the social media front. So if you're not already doing so, you can follow me on Instagram at PEAUXETIC. So that's poetic. And on TikTok, it's the same, but with the number 7 at the end. So that's PEAUXETIC and then the number 7. And you can follow DeJuan on Instagram at DJ Renfroe. That's RENFROE 1914. So again, that's DJ Renfroe 1914 all together on IG. And on Facebook, you can follow him at DeJuan Paul. So that's DEJUAN and then Paul. So you can follow him there. I've known DeJuan for, oh God, it's almost 20 years. We went to the same church. We are former church members, but we've kept in touch over the years. And I'm so glad that he was able to join today. He's always been just like a real chill person. You know, never seen him like act out of character or anything like that. He is also a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And before I bring him out, you know how we do on the show, I always mention a famous person of the guest. So a famous Virgo, if you all did not know, is Idris Elba. So I'm gonna, without further ado, gonna go ahead and bring out DeJuan to join us.
Hey there.
Hey, what's up, DeJuan? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So yes, Virgo. So yeah, so I will say I'm kind of surrounded by Virgos in a sense. So like you, one of my best friends from high school is a Virgo.
Okay.
Both of my parents are Virgos. I have 2 close cousins that live here in Dallas. She and her husband are both Virgos. So yeah, I feel like Virgo is a sign that I'm very familiar with.
We're good people. Yeah, we're very good people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yes. Good people for sure. Okay. And so before we get started, if you don't mind sharing your birthday and anything else that you want the listeners and the viewers to know about yourself.
My date of birth is August 29th, 1980.
Okay.
Originally from Louisiana, South Louisiana, graduated University of New Orleans.
Okay.
Been in Texas 21 years now, this year, 21 years.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been a long time. I left a little bit, came back for about a year and a half. I went to California, hated it, moved back. But yeah, that's a different story for a different time. But
really,
yeah. So, but other than I'm back, enjoying living here. I don't see myself living nowhere else. So yeah.
Okay.
A little bit about me. So yeah.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear. Okay. So again, thank you for being on. And so for Virgo, I feel like there's a lot of things that I could say that I love about Virgo, but the one that really sticks out to me is Virgos tend to find the things that a lot of people miss, or those fine details, or the details that take something over the top or really make it great. I feel like a Virgo is the person that you want for something like that.
I agree. Yeah, we are natural born leaders. You know, think we
Mhm.
very. I don't like to do stuff half-ass. I don't. I like to make sure
Mhm.
that everything's laid out, planned out. It's gonna be OCD sometimes, but it's like I just don't like to be sitting around like, okay, what we doing next? So,
Right.
you
Mhm.
know, and some people think that could be controlling. I don't see it that way. I just see that we gonna make sure we not say follow the steps, but just have a plan and then things go smoothly. Sometimes things may veer off, but if you have a plan and you have everything jotted down, detailed out, it makes things better, in my opinion. You know.
Mhm. It
So
does. It does. And I'll say I really don't see Virgo as controlling. They just want things done the right way, and they're gonna tell you if it's not, put together. You're gonna know. But you think about a lot of, even the famous Virgos. Um, you can kind of go down the list. I know I mentioned Idris Elba, but you have two of the
Beyonce.
biggest ones. Yeah, Beyonce and Michael Jackson were both Virgos, and their work ethic. I think that's another great thing about Virgo is the work ethic of a Virgo is really unmatched.
Yeah, we strive to do our best. You know, as
Mhm.
far as I think, being a Virgo and every Virgo that I know personally have excelled in their careers because we do
Mhm.
the work, we do the hard work. Even in my organization for Sigma, I have a take charge attitude. I work with our youth. I do everything's in the chapter, and it's like I just feel like I got to get in and get my hands and feet wet just to make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can. I can't sit back and just be lazy and not do anything at all. So it seems like I kind of constantly keep doing things
Mm.
just make myself feel like I'm contributing to whatever I'm doing, just to feel like I'm fitting in with other, the organization or the work or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. And one thing I always wonder about Virgos, and I ask you this just to get your take on it, because you all are so solution focused and so driven, and like you say, a lot of times, a Virgo is going to excel in their career. Do you ever find it hard to relax or just let go?
Yeah.
Really?
It's funny you mention that because I'm constantly worried about something like work, for example.
Okay.
I may be at home on vacation, but I'm checking my emails on my phone. I'm at night. I wake up in the morning
Really?
thinking like, "Oh, what I got to do today? What's going to happen today?" It's not like I'm my anxiety, I guess it is, but it's the fact that I'm just a step ahead, one step ahead of the situation
Mhm.
or whatever going to be happening that day. So all
Mhm.
I do is try to like get a handle or get ahead of what could potentially be any problems for that particular day or that situation. So yeah, it's always I'm a workaholic, worry about things. I worry a lot about what could be, even though it may not come
Mhm.
true. But it's
Right.
just the fact that we have
Possibility.
that drive into us that we just want to make sure that we could try to prevent any situation from happening if possible.
Right. 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 And I love that, being preventative. Another great thing about Virgo is I feel like some people would say, and I don't think y'all are, but some people would say that a Virgo sometimes lacks a little bit of empathy because in a personal situation, in my experience with Virgos, their mentality is kind of like, okay, we're gonna cry about this for a little bit, but what's the solution?
Right.
How are we gonna get over to the other side? And for me, I think that's a strength, and that's another thing I love about Virgos is that y'all aren't gonna sit and wallow in whatever negative feelings that you have for too long.
Right. I mean, it depends on the situation. Because one thing about Virgos, and I'm strong contest to this, I could feel fakeness. So
Mhm.
if you are
Mhm.
emotional and I feel like you just doing it for attention, I'm going to be like, so that way it comes off of being not a, being a empathetic to people because I'm like, if you're not genuine with your whatever you're going through, I'm
Mhm.
going to read through that. Now, I have friends who've been through things, have lost family members and things like that, and they've called me, and I'll drop whatever it is and drive over there and just take
Yeah.
care of them. but I know it's they're genuine people. But there's people who are fake, and you try to con me by crying or saying, I'm gonna be like, really?
You're
Like,
just sitting
really?
there looking at them, right? Like, what are
Right.
we doing
Like,
here?
I'm be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm like, really? Yeah, yeah. So,
So in that sense, in those instances, do you and I imagine it's probably more lax in your personal life, or maybe you feel a little bit more empowered to call it out in your personal life, maybe more so than professional, or maybe it's both. I don't know. But do, how long do you let it play out before you call out? Okay, this is fake. Like, you know.
I won't let it
You
go
know.
on too long. Like, I would let, I would,
Okay.
I'm a good listener. I would listen to you. I would sit back and observe your mannerisms and how you present your case, quote unquote.
Mhm.
But then I'll be like, but remember when? Because I remember stuff.
Yeah, Virgos have a great memory.
I remember stuff that happened 20 years ago, and come on, saying this, and I'm like, but you posted on Facebook about 3 years ago that this. So how did? And there's people either say,
Yeah.
well, I made that up, or they try to
Mm.
deflect and go somewhere else. But don't bullshit me. That's one
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I will have your back. I will be empathetic to your situation. But if I feel that you bullshitting me, I'm going to be like, "Mm, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah." So
yeah. I can see that. Yeah, because I feel the same way, and I feel like that's one thing that Aquarius and Virgo kind of share. Because I'm the same way too. Like I
mhm,
can be empathetic, but if I feel like it's not coming from a genuine place,
yeah.
then it's hard for me to operate like that with somebody.
And going back to being detail oriented, I even research stuff. Like if you sitting across from me, and I don't know if this may sound weird, but if I'm sitting across from you, I'm sitting in a group setting and someone's
Mhm.
talking about something. If something don't sit right with me in my spirit, I'm a maybe look on Facebook and be like, I'm like, okay, you wait, but this isn't this what you just said like the other day? And my friends be like, D, come on now, don't I again with the fakeness, like just be genuine. I would have your back, I would support you. But if I like I said, if I feel like something is off or something's wrong, I'm gonna do my research and investigate. That's and my good friends. He said I'm nosy, but it's a chance for me to really understand who you are as a person. I mean, it's not like I'm digging for dirt to go and spread your business to
Yeah,
anyone
yeah,
else. I'm just trying to figure out the kind of person you are, especially if I'm first meeting you or I haven't been around you a lot. I'm like, okay, who is this person and what is it about? So I can know when you come to me with anything, I'm like, okay, you are a genuine person or you are trustworthy and things like that. So it's
yeah.
twofold. It's a good thing and a bad thing when it comes to like that.
Man, okay, so you said some interesting nuggets right there. So the first thing, so if you're investigating somebody, do you call them, like let's say it's a group setting, like you mentioned, are you calling them out in the group in front of everybody, or is it pulling them to the side and like, okay, hey, I don't think what you said is true?
It depends on the setting. So I would, if it's like where I think you can handle it. I'm like, but I won't put it in. I want to say it's a fact that it hurts your feelings.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be subtle about it, and I'm like, didn't you? But I saw
Okay.
you hanging out with such and such, but I thought y'all wasn't friends, and just kind of put it
Oh,
like that. For example,
yeah.
I may send you a message. I may say text you if I've not have your phone number. I may send you a message on
Yeah.
Facebook. Say, hey, what? Are you sure that this happened, or are you so? Because again, if if I can't trust you with the simple stuff, then
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be able to have you in my circle
Hmm.
because I'm gonna be thinking about, okay, you're gonna try to be malicious and try to spin whatever happened in the situation, try to involve me in some mess. I'm not down for that. So if other people are calling you out on your stuff, I may jump in and give my, but I won't give it
Yeah.
from a, like I say, a malicious standpoint. I'll give it from a subtle
Hmm.
against to you, like, hey, I kind of know you kind of been lying about whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I respect that honestly because I feel like if you're just getting to know somebody and they're messy or gossipy or whatever the case is, um, and this is my thought about it, is if they're coming to you telling you all these things about other people, then they probably will do the same thing to you too when they're in another setting. So yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's hard to, I won't say it's hard to get in my inner circle, but I'm very careful who I invite. And
Mhm.
even when people are saying, well, I'm gonna invite such and such, like who this person? Like I would go on Facebook and look
Yeah.
up their profile picture and pictures and see who they hang around with, because I'm very cautious. I've been burned before by people who said they were my friends who
Sure.
have my back, and then they end up, code switching, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you really not the person you are. So I'm very protective of my feelings, and even my friends. If I know this person that you quote unquote inviting to our inner circle, and they're known to be this type of way, I'm going to tell my friend, hey, look, I just don't think this person is the kind of person you want to hang with.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not going to tell you can't hang with this person,
Right.
but I'm going to give you things that I have seen. And again, it's up to you if you want to make that decision. But if you constantly want to be around that person, knowing that they are malicious, I may step back and be like, okay, have fun, go have fun with that person, and y'all hang out, and then we'll hang out separately.
Yeah. I kind of think of Virgo as the Columbo of the zodiac. Y'all gonna crack the case, and even
Yeah,
like what you mentioned earlier about Virgo or you maybe being a little nosy. The way I look at that is if you never want to dig deeper into knowing something or find out more about it, then I kind of question you a little bit, because to me, if you're nosy to a certain degree, then that lets me know your intelligence, and that lets me know, oh, hey, you don't take everything surface value.
right.
You want to dig deeper. Of course, there's extremes for
Yeah,
everything. But I respect it. And a Virgo, I've had that done to me before, by my parents and even Virgo friends. They will call out if the vibes aren't right
right,
about somebody.
right. Because people associate it. If people know that that person is a messy person, but now you associate yourself with that person,
Hmm.
they're gonna be looking at you side eye like, okay, so I thought you was a different kind of person, but you hanging out with such and such, looking at you side eye,
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's all about who you interact with. People associate with who you hang with. And again, I'm not trying to say that I'm better known than anyone else. That's not the case. I just know that when I'm looking for genuine people, I just want to make sure that if I could be trusted with my, personal information and my privacy, I feel you could do the same.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. All right. Well, so this is a question, one of the questions I've been asking everyone this season. So I'm curious to know what your answer is. And so this segment is called Figure Eight. So basically, representation of season 8 of this podcast. But what would you say from the past 8 years of your life has been the most formative moment, or something that's really impacted you for who you are today?
oh, so we won't go deep like that. Man, um, I had a period in my life where, and I will talk about this. I had a period in my life where I went through a depression phase.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay because I it brought me to who I am today.
Mhm.
But that period I used to be like, hey, everybody's welcome to hang around me, be around, be in my circle. And going through that made me realize who has my back and who doesn't have my back.
Mhm.
And it made me reevaluate a lot of the friendships that I've had even with people I've been knowing 10 years, my
Oh,
fraternity
wow.
brothers,
Ooh.
people that just like, okay, I realize you are not there for me. So I changed my phone number. I just like I went through that whole thing, but it was an eye opener for me as me turning into I would think I was turning 41. So
Okay.
that whole phase when you turn into your 40s that you realize, yeah, you're not for me.
Yeah.
So it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I guess I say one of these depression as far as like anything like suicidal. So people think when you think depression, you're suicidal. It's just I just felt like things in my life was not going right with people around me, and I just felt so much pressure, like trying to maintain these friendships that really was not there for me. So these friendships that was not meaningful, and people was that trustworthy and stuff like that. So the last 5 years, that was something that really made me reevaluate my life and things that I want to see myself as I get into my mid 40s and in fourth and fifth and stuff like that. So
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you for being transparent and sharing that, first of all, and glad that you're on the other side of that now. And I feel like I can relate to not necessarily because I have been depressed before too, but that whole concept of in your 40s, I think you do have this epiphany like, okay, who's really for me, who's not for me. I just made 40 this year, and I feel like I'm in this evaluation
mhm.
stage of life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And with Virgo specifically, one thing I've noticed is a lot of Virgos are counselors, therapists, things of that nature, which I think is a perfect profession for a Virgo, because you're detail oriented, and then also you are empathetic, but you're not so emotional where you can't see the bird's eye view, like the
Hmm.
big picture of a situation. So when you were going through that period in life, because I feel like Virgos are kind of always the rock for whoever is in their circle. Did you feel like maybe some of that support that you had given wasn't reciprocated, by and not by the people that you weeded out, but even by those who are still around today? Like maybe you didn't get that same support that you gave out in
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah. I even people who are, and these people who are not saying this because of who, if your sign is or whatever, but
Yeah, yeah.
the people who that really had my back were Virgos and Leos. I mean, so to say, my
Oh,
and
okay.
actually Aries
Yeah.
too. Like my best friends, one is an Aries, one is a Leo, and then I have some good friends that are Virgos, and I just feel that Virgos, tying it back to our signs, and Aries, it may sound crazy, but we mesh.
Hmm.
And I realized that even though we were good friends, we were best friends, I was not leaning on them as much as I should have, and I got called out for it. You know,
Oh,
so
that's good.
yeah, they called me out like, you trying to run around hanging with such and such, but we've been here for you since day one. And so it made me realize like I don't need to have 10,000 friends. I may need to have
Exactly.
five. I may need
Yeah.
to have three.
Hmm.
Hell, I may need to have one
Yeah.
who I could
Yeah.
call on and be my rock. And so going through that whole phase and that whole depression phase and realizing what's my life, even I took time off from work. You know, I just had to
Right.
realize, reevaluate what I want in my life. And it was people, it was job, it was coworkers, it was situations and things like that that maybe like take a step back and like realize, okay, DeJuan, what do you want in life? Do
Hmm.
you want to sit in this house and be dark and be fake around people and try to put on a smile? Because that's one thing I think Virgos do. We push through
Yeah.
by putting a smile, even though it's
Hmm.
hurting us inside. We
Yeah.
be like laugh, ha ha ha. But deep down, and when we by ourselves, it's like. So I didn't want to go through that in my 40s. So that whole phase right there made me reevaluate and reassess my life at that time frame, and made me come to a better end of that situation. So, and that same thing with people. I had to literally jot, like not even jot down, but look at everybody and was like, okay, they've been here for me, they're not for me, they're
Hmm.
here for me, stuff like that,
Hmm.
and realized I cut a lot of people out of my life because of that situation.
Right. Right. And was it, because I know I've had this issue before, and I didn't realize it until I got older, where sometimes I may be going through something or upset about something. And because I'm close to somebody, in my head, I kind of expected them to know how I was feeling, know what I was thinking by patterns. And then when I look back on it, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I never actually said yes. Maybe they should have
Hmm.
known. Yes, if it were me, I probably would have picked up on it, but I never said it. So, did you have any of those moments where maybe because I do agree with that about Virgo. Virgo is definitely a push through type of sign too. Like, you're gonna go through things, especially Virgo, and maybe this is, I don't want to stereotype, male, female, but especially with the Virgo men, um, definitely push through a lot of times without complaint,
Hmm.
and people don't know what's going on. So, like, did you feel like, I guess what I'm asking is, was there grace for maybe some of the people that were weeded out, but maybe you didn't voice what was going on? Or was it more so like, hey, no, you should have known, and boom, we're done?
That that is a weakness I feel of a Virgo. And this is, I'm not saying because of me. I know, like I said, I know quite a few Virgos that are the same way. We are not big communicators to some extent.
Really? You
So
don't think so?
to some extent. So for the feelings, I feel that I same thing I thought as my friend or associate that you should know what I'm going
Hmm.
through. But it turns out I was not communicating that. So for me to be like mad at someone who was not there for me, it's like, well, you didn't communicate to us. And I realized like maybe I didn't. Like I'm assuming because you didn't see me post on social media or you
Hmm.
didn't see me out and about going out for Sunday fun day that I'm oh that should be
Something's
like
up.
what's wrong? Yeah, what's
Right.
wrong?
Hmm.
But I didn't communicate with that. So for me getting upset at the fact that I didn't communicate my feelings was wrong, you know. But flip side, if I have communicated with you and you still like,
Yeah.
then that's a different story. That's a
Yeah.
different story. So, and I feel like I'm not gonna explain myself 3 and 4 times. If I've
Hmm.
expressed how I feel about a situation and I've done it twice, maybe 3 times, and you still showing me like, then that's where I'm like, okay, I got to cut you off because I've expressed how I felt about you or the situation, and you still doing the same thing. But if I haven't communicated with you, then it's my bad. I apologize. Like, hey, I messed up. I can't expect you to understand what I'm going to if I have not said anything to you. So,
Hmm. And just for clarification, I didn't bring that up to try to call you out or anything. It
oh
more
no,
so was kind of, I was just wondering, curious, because it's something that I've done. Because I've been in situations where, to your point, I'm about 95% sure if I had laid out what was going on, how I was feeling, that we still would have come to the same outcome.
mm,
So it was, I kind of look at it as like, when you're looking at a contract and every contract has a loophole,
yeah,
because it wasn't explicitly stated, then the other person can say, oh, well, I'm going to do this because you didn't say it in the contract.
yeah,
And I kind of feel like a lot of times with any type of relationship, like romantic, friendship, family, anything, because we don't say it, then it kind of gives the other person an out. But I'm exactly like you in that regard. Like if I say something, um, I might say it once or twice, and most times I'm not going to raise my voice about it.
right,
Then once I feel like, okay, I said it, nothing is changing. And then when I'm out, and I don't know if you have this reputation, but I know I've gotten it before. It's like, oh, that's so mean. You're heartless. You're cruel. You blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but why? Because I've already said this is something I can't deal with.
yeah,
And then because I'm not getting over it like I normally do, then now it's a problem.
yeah. And the explaining yourself 1 or 2 times, and then you're at the point where you're done. And people may say, well, again, you're mean. Why would you do that? Why are you treating this person that way? But
Mhm.
I've communicated how I felt about you or a situation several times, and you're still not getting it. So now I want to cut you off, and then other people are looking from the outside in and like, that's wrong. You can't really say I'm wrong because I've already taken a step to try to
Uh-huh.
rectify the situation before we got to this point.
Right. Right.
And if that person doesn't still want to move on or try to fix it, then my hands are tied. So, but on the flip side, I've done it to people before. Like I've had friends who are going through things, and I'm like, why you didn't tell me? You
Yeah.
know, even though I don't communicate how I feel, but I get mad at some of my friends, like, why you
For
didn't tell
not
me
telling
how
you.
you? so, so it's like I don't want to say how I feel with people, but then I get mad when you don't tell me how you feel, and I'm supposed to. Yeah, so it's two sides of a coin.
Right. Right. I totally understand that. I get it. I do. I do. Okay, so flipping it a little bit on a lighter note.
Okay.
So another question I have for you is, and I've been asking this to everybody too this season, ultimate snack. So what would you say is a snack that just really embodies Virgo? You would say, oh, this is, hey, if you're eating this, this is Virgo energy right here.
M&M's.
Okay, how so?
So because we are complex and we are multi layers and different aspects of Virgos, you have peanut M&Ms, you have almond M&Ms, you have the chocolate, regular chocolate. It's
Oh,
so many different types of M&Ms
yeah.
but it's still all M&Ms. So same thing with Virgo. We have different
Okay.
things about us, different species, aspects of us that we are made up of, but we still a
Mhm.
Virgo. So I would say a M&M, and that's my favorite snack of all time. So
M&M's. Yeah, they are
yeah,
good.
so I would say that M&Ms are Virgos. That's a Virgo snack, hands down.
Hey, okay, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And you, I knew you were going to explain it, so I didn't even ask because as soon as you said M&Ms, I was like, well, which one? Is it the peanut? Is it the peanut butter? Is it? But you already covered
Mhm.
it, so it's
Yeah.
all of them across the board.
Yep.
I love that. I love that. Hey, that's what's up. Okay. All right. So wow. Okay, I can't. The time has been flying by.
Oh
Okay,
wow,
so
right. Yeah.
yeah, it's been like really flying. I've been loving this conversation. So this last segment that I have here is called Dead in the Water. So for those, this may be your first time watching or uh, listening. This segment is 5 rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask DeJuan, like a this or that style. So instead of the one that he likes the best, he'll tell me the one that he actually will throw back in the water.
Okay.
So, so I try to tailor it to each guest too. So these questions are not questions that I've asked other people.
Okay.
A little different. So I'm curious to get your answer. Really curious on this first one here.
Okay.
So being that you are from Louisiana, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but I have Louisiana roots. Well, you probably knew from my last name.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm curious to see what your pick is on this one. So between Etouffee or jambalaya, which one are you throwing away?
Jambalaya.
You know what? I'm not mad at that because yeah, I think I would pick the same.
I'm a sauce guy. So if you
Okay.
have a sauce on a meal, I'm gonna eat it. So jambalaya, depending on who you make it. I'm not talking about my mom. She make good jambalaya, but sometimes jambalaya can be dry and be like,
Yeah, it can be.
yeah.
Yeah.
But etouffee has a sauce, crawfish and stuff. It's yeah. So jambalaya, I'll throw that away.
Okay. Throwing that one away.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, so this next one. So we were both at this concert. And actually I didn't know until after the fact, until you told me. But Missy Elliott, between these two songs, Work It or Lose Control, which one are you getting rid of?
Hey, because I love Missy.
Yeah, me too.
I would get rid of Work It.
Okay.
Lose Control has a much better beat in my opinion. It
does.
it's so and I'm not a dancer, but when I was at the concert and she started performing that, I was like, that was just a jam. So Work It, I would have to say, you know what, Miss, I love it, but yeah, put it to the side.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I agree too. And you're right, because at the concert, people were jamming to Work It, but when she played Lose Control, it was like bananas. They just lost their mind. Nobody was still. Everybody was moving and
Exactly. Especially where I was sitting there, everybody was just moving, dancing in unison. It was just yeah, that's the best one. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. So this is TV shows of the 90s. So A Different World or Martin, which one would you throw back?
I would throw away Martin.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, no judgment. I'm just curious. So why? How so?
I felt a different world, even though it came out before Martin. It's something I looked up to when I went to college, and the fact that it hit on like real life situations.
It did, yeah.
Martin was good, don't get me wrong, but it's like sometimes you get tired of seeing Sinead and you tired of seeing Jerome, and it's like it was funny, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't miss the episode of Different World, but I maybe miss the episode or two of Martin, you know. And Martin, when he went through the whole situation with Gina, and it kind of made me like, I don't really follow anymore. So I would throw away Martin.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you made me really think about something, because Martin is my favorite. Yeah, it's probably my favorite sitcom of all time.
Okay.
But I also love A Different World. Now I'm almost scared to say this on the podcast, and this may be unpopular opinion. I didn't care for A Different World pre-Debbie Allen when she got involved. Like, to me, the first season, like, it was okay, but and like how you talk about the sauce, Debbie Allen, when she came in, to me, she added the sauce for the show. But you're right, they touched on a lot of topics, real world topics that Martin didn't touch on. And even today, as successful as Martin was, I would say A Different World probably had a bigger impact because, like you said, you know, I mean, you didn't say this verbatim, but just, you know, young Black kids growing up watching that show, our parents watching the show.
Yeah.
And so you have these generations of people who now have something inspirational to look to. It's like, oh, people look like us. They're going to college. They're successful. Even what's her name? Lena Waithe, her podcast is based, I forgot the name of it, but it's based on A Different World.
Yeah, I agree with you from the first season. I was like, when Lisa Bonet and Melissa Tomei, they was on there. It was okay, but I feel like season 2, and I think we went out to season 6 when Dwayne and Whitney got married and stuff like that. It was more of a realistic, you know, situation, and that's why watching them, I didn't think about pledging anything in college, you know. And then I saw Kappa Lambda Nu, and you know, you saw some Divine Nine in there, and it was like, it really made me like. That's the reason I went to HBCU for one semester. I went there for 1 semester before I transferred to PWI, but I went to Southern for a semester because I was like, I saw Hillman, and I'm like, ooh, I want to go to an HBCU.
Yeah.
So
I had that experience. Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. I love that. Okay. So I think I know which one you're gonna pick on this one, but between these two colors, blue or orange, which one you throwing away?
I'm throwing away orange. And it's not because I'm a Sigma.
Okay.
I've always loved blue. I can't see myself wearing orange. I mean, this is reddish, I guess, orange. I don't know what it is, but I drink orange juice. I drink orange soda, you know, but
like orange,
orange is not a color that you see me, you know, wearing all the time. But you'll see me wearing a lot of blue. Even before I was a Sigma, I would wear blue. So
yeah. Well, I will say, and even though I'm an Alpha, blue is my favorite color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love blue, so I totally get that. All right, and so this is the last one. So between these two, a long flight or a long road trip, and I'll give you a little bit of context to this.
Okay.
So the destination is somewhere you just really hype about going. I mean, I guess for a road trip, it can't be like in another country, but which one would you be less willing to endure for the destination?
Long road trip. I would get rid of that. I first of all, I don't like driving a long time, and I don't let other people drive. I don't like other people driving me. You know, I'm just weird like that. I
get it.
And it's not controlling. It's just but But I'd rather get there, and I feel a flight, even though it'd be a long flight, it's still better than driving for 24 hours when I can get there maybe in 12 hours or something like that, or
Right.
whatever the case may be, depending on where you're going. But I'll take a long flight over a long road trip any day.
Okay. Okay.
I'm actually about to do a long flight in like 2 weeks, so yeah, I'm
Oh,
looking
really?
forward to it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, that's what's
so
up. Okay.
yeah, yep,
Get rid of the road trip.
yeah. Give it a road trip.
Okay, okay, man. This has been great, DeJuan, and thank you so much for agreeing again to
No
come on
problem.
here and speak to Virgo. I agree with everything that you said about Virgo, and again, it's one of my favorite signs and one of the ones that I'm, just naturally surrounded by family,
Mhm.
and then a lot of my friends too. And is there anything, just last words you want to say about maybe advice for people dealing with Virgos, or even any personal things that you have going on that you want to plug or anything like that?
I know for Virgos, yeah, we are. Even though we love having attention, we don't like people who, we feeling appreciated, feeling we being ignored. But also give us grace because sometimes we are shy, introverted. Like
Mm,
if you see us sitting on a sofa and not interacting, don't think that we acting funny. It's just sometimes we gotta assess our situation and assess our surrounding before we actually jump up and be like all social.
right,
Hands down, I do that all the time. If I'm invited somewhere for the first time and I don't know a lot of people, I'm gonna look around and see how people are moving, so I know if I'm gonna jump into this group and jump into that group or just interact with everyone.
right,
But some people have called me out before saying, "You, why are you antisocial?" It's not that. It's just the fact that we gotta see what we getting ourselves into before we get into it. So
right. Hey,
yeah,
I get it. I respect
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hey, hey, well, I love it. Again, thanks for coming on, DeJuan. I appreciate it. I'm gonna flash this up again one more time. So make sure y'all follow DeJuan on Instagram. Again, that's DJ Renfroe 1914, or on Facebook, DeJuan Paul. And so, as I've been doing this whole season, we're talking about the love of each sign. So until next week, thanks everyone for tuning in, for watching, and for listening. Peace. And thanks again, DeJuan.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. All right.